Welcome to the Generation Elevation podcast, a conscious, connected platform for those who are ready to manifest their dream life. I'm your host, Elise Riley, a former PT, now motivational speaker, igniting empowerment and transformation all across the globe. Here at Generation Elevation, we are committed to bringing you the most inspiring guests who will share their stories, wisdom, and advice to help you progress closer to living a life of your own terms.
We all have moments in our life where we come to a crossroads. We decide whether we have to go left or right, up or down, yes or no. And it's that slow motion moment where we meet our edge and any limiting beliefs, any fears from the old version of us meet us, initiating us into the next level version of ourselves. Today, I'm going to talk about how to know you're on the right path. And if you can hear all that ruckus, you're joining me live on my balcony in the middle of London. If you've been following me for a while, you would know that I grew up in Melbourne, moved to the Gold Coast for 2 years spontaneously, and then now have moved myself from the Gold Coast to London just recently over the past 3 weeks. I just want to say I appreciate you all so much for following me along this journey. And if you're new here, welcome to Generation Elevation. I'm so excited to have you. This is a movement, and I'm so appreciative that you can be a part of this journey and I can be a part of yours. So how do you know you're on the right path? I get many DMs in my Instagram throughout the day on Elise, I don't know my why. I don't know my purpose. How do I find what I'm passionate about in life? How do I even know that I'm doing the right thing? How do I even know that I'm making the right decision? This actually came up in my Evolve coaching container the other day where a client said, well, I'm scared of making the wrong decision. And I had a little giggle to myself because I believe the people you surround yourself with are your reflections, whether they're reflecting back to you versions and parts of your personality now, or they're reflecting back to you who you once were. Now, most of my clients are my past projections, and that's why I'm able to help them to my best ability because I've been through what they've been through or what they're going through. And I wanted to share with you times where I was met at that edge, the edge between my old self and who I am becoming. And the thoughts that would meet me there would be, what if I am making the wrong decision? What if this is the worst decision of my life? Am I crazy? These are usually the typical thoughts that would meet me there. Now, you may be resonating, and if you're listening to this podcast, I'm sure you are, because you're also my projection too. And what I did with this client is I asked her, when was the first time in your life you felt like you made a wrong decision? And so if you're listening to this right now, I want you to reflect just throughout this podcast, when was the first time you felt like you made a wrong decision? Reflecting back to that first moment. Maybe it comes to you straight away. Maybe you have to go and think about it and reflect. Maybe it was at school. Maybe it was something to do with your family, your parents, friends, a lover. And what I'm going to share with you today is a process that I've used time and time again that has allowed me to develop this almighty trust in myself and in my path. And this may help you when you're making decisions, whether it's just simple as what's for dinner, or whether it is major life decisions, whether you're moving to London like me or going after your career, asking that person out, breaking up with someone, etc. In the past, I was extremely indecisive. I had no trust in myself whatsoever, and I would outsource my power a lot of the time to people in my environment, my family. I would ask for permission quite a bit, and I think this is something that I learned through just going through school, like putting your hand up, oh, miss, can I please go to the toilet? You know, you're taught to ask for permission to do things, and so this pattern of behavior played out in many areas of my life. I would ask for permission from my teachers. I would ask for permission from my family. I would ask for permission from my friends. And when I say from my friends, it was like, oh, do you reckon I should do this? And once I got their approval, then it was like, okay, well, yeah, now I can do it, because when I do it, it means that they won't hate me and I'll still fit in. I remember when I created my Instagram, I didn't tell anyone about it. I didn't tell anyone about my YouTube channel because it was so not what everyone else was doing. And I hadn't asked for permission yet. So I thought, well, maybe I just keep it a secret. And then once I start talking about it to a few people that I trust, then maybe I will feel like I've gotten the permission that I needed to continue on with that purpose, right? It was just these thoughts meeting me at my edge. Every time I wanted to do something new, this permission piece thing would come up. And so I share this with you because about 3 years ago now, I was in a 5-year relationship. And this is really beautiful actually, because I haven't shared a lot about this on my page, on my socials, on my podcast. So thank you for listening today. And maybe I go in a little bit more depth in another podcast about heartbreak, about manifesting the one, etc. But what I will leave you here today is about trusting your path and trusting yourself. This person at the time was my everything. I loved him so much. We were together 5 years, from when I was 14 to about 20. And I met him at the gym, and I remember writing down every single quality that I wanted in a partner when I was 14, and I got it all. I wrote down what I wanted them to look like, what I wanted them to be interested in, what I wanted to talk about, how I wanted to feel around this person. And I wrote down things like fun, loyal, honest, funny. I wrote down like how long their eyelashes were, having like clean teeth and beautiful eyes and nice hair and nice body, athletic, into the gym, into sport. I wrote down tradie and I wrote down having a black ute, because that's like what I thought was really attractive at the time. And I just had fun with it. I was like, wrote it down. All right, I'm going to create my dream person. Sure enough, I started going to the gym, and that was out of my comfort zone as well. I was waiting for my friends to start going to the gym, and they started going. So I was like, I'm going to come with you guys. And we would go to the gym every couple of days, and then all of a sudden they stopped going. And I was like, what do you mean? I want to keep going. And I was waiting for permission for them to go so I could go. And I remember talking to my dad about this, and he's like, Elise, just go in there and walk on the treadmill. And then at least you can have a look at and see what equipment is around and make a plan. And if you've got a plan, you won't feel so scattered and so nervous when you get in there. Because if you wait around for everyone else to do what you want to do, you're never going to get it done. I said, okay. That day, I went to the gym by myself, and I jumped on the treadmill, and turns out it was facing the other way to all the equipment. So I was like, shit, I can't see and make my plan. However, anyway, sidetracked. I met this guy at the gym, and he was a bit older than me, 3 years. I had the biggest crush on him, and I was like just so confident in myself that I was like, you know what, like I'm just gonna be his friend, and I'll be that person that hangs around, and eventually he'll fall in love with me because it's me, right? And it worked. And I think this was more so like on an energetic level, like I was secure in myself, and I just had a crush, and it seemed that my energy of being nice and having similar interests, like this was the guy for me at that time. So we ended up getting together around 2015, and I was with him for 5 years. Now, we did everything together. It was the most beautiful young love. I truly love this man so much. I'm going to cry. Yeah. He was everything that you would want for your daughter, and he was everything I wanted at the time. And when I started my personal development journey, I started reading Eckhart Tolle, I started becoming mindful of my thoughts, I started ascending energetically, consciously, started realizing that I was psychic, medium. The reason why people kept getting overweight was from their mindset. The reason why people getting injured was their mindset. The reason why people weren't successful in their business was mindset. And so that is why I delved deep into that, because I wanted to help these people transform, not just physically, but mentally and spiritually as well. And I remember going to an event with a lot of people that were my age, and a lot of people would ask me, how's your boyfriend and how's your business? And that was it. And I kind of got a little bit triggered. Is this all that I am? And I started questioning, okay, well, who am I? Let me discover Elise. Because at the moment, I'm a girlfriend and I'm a PT, and that's all I know about me. I haven't really done much else. So I decided, okay, write a list of everything that was out of my comfort zone and scared me. Dancing in front of people. It was dropping in on a half pipe, going to a festival, doing all of these things. I was like, I'm going to have the most fun and just experience life and make the most of it. So that's what I did. And I started learning how to skateboard. I entered into a dance concert and I did all these things that scared the shit out of me. And I loved it. And I kept growing and evolving and meditating. And I remember having this knowing that I am moving to the Gold Coast. It just felt so right. And I also knew that this beautiful human that I was in love with, he was not coming with me. And at the time, logically, I could not understand. I couldn't get it. I love this guy. Why is he not coming with me? It would make sense. Why wouldn't I want him to? However, deep in my soul, I knew. And I don't know if you've ever had that feeling before, but it's that feeling when you just are in the right place at the right time, or you just know something when you don't really know it. I'm sure you're resonating with me when I say this, but it's just that calling. It's that undeniable call of your destiny. And no matter what you do, you shut it down, you push it away, you try and keep it quiet. Oh, that's just a silly idea. It's just going to go away soon. It keeps coming back louder, louder, louder. And I started experiencing this thing, anxiety. I didn't even know what it was. I was like, why am I feeling so nervous? Why am I feeling so uncomfortable? I have never experienced this before. Is this anxiety? And I remember listening to podcasts on double speed for 3 hours at a time during COVID on my walks during the day, trying to figure out what was wrong with me. Why do I have in front of me this most perfect person on paper, yet my soul is saying that he is not coming with me and that I am no longer in love with him? I couldn't get it. I could not make sense of that. And that's the thing with matters of the heart, with matters of the soul, you can't make sense of them. You just need to trust the path. And that took me a really long time to trust myself. I would ask for advice from way too many people because I didn't trust in my heart and in my soul's calling. I didn't trust that I was right about this, that I needed to go on my own. I was like, why do I feel this way? I must be stupid. I must be crazy. I didn't trust in me. And eventually I made that decision and it felt like this giant weight had lifted off my shoulders. That was the first time I ever trusted myself. I then decided to move to the Gold Coast and everyone said it would be hard. And I was like, no, I trust that this is my path and it will work out for me. Oh, it's lightning right now outside. We're in the elements. Whew. Oh, can you hear that? Crazy. There's some crazy energy right now. I'm sitting in the rain for you guys because I want to make this podcast happen. I'm in flow. So let's just see how we go. And I kid you not, people were saying that you could not move to the Gold Coast because it's way too packed. And I had someone message me wanting me to move in with them on flatmates. So I didn't even know them. So I knew that this was where I need to go. And I had my vision and I focused and I stayed in my lane and I went for it. The next time I trusted myself and my path was when I had the idea of creating my podcast. I procrastinated on that for way too long, about a year. I didn't trust that I could do this on my own. I thought, no one's going to listen to me. I'm not interesting enough. But that was my edge. Those were the thoughts initiating me forward, coming up at my edge. The old me versus the new me and who I wanted to be, who I need to be in order to live out this mission. Those thoughts meeting me at my edge. Every single person that I was in conversation with was like, let's start a podcast together. People need to hear what we have to say. These conversations are so cool. And I was like, yeah, okay, let's do it. And it never happened. And that was my sign. I was like, this is frustrating. I want to start a podcast, but no one else is starting one with me. Like they keep saying they're going to do it and then they don't. And I was like, oh, that's because they're reflecting back to me. The common denominator in these conversations is me. So I'm going to start my own fucking podcast and have my own conversations. And if people want to be on my podcast, they come to me. And that was the best decision that I ever made. Because look, here I am. I wouldn't be in London if it wasn't for this podcast. I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't for this podcast. And then there's been many times that have come up where I've had to make decisions on, especially moving to London, and I'd been seeing someone for about 5 months of this year. And for me, I like to keep this stuff private, and I like to just have that to myself. But I know I need to share this with you today because it may just give you exactly what you need for your life and where you are at right now. The same feeling of loving someone, loving the Gold Coast, having everything that I want on paper, yet this calling of the soul forward. It's so hard to describe. Loving someone and letting them go for their highest good of all. I know that this is my path, and this is initiating me to where I'm going and who I want to be, who I'm becoming. And it's so cool that I get to document this journey with you all. It's so cool that I get to document where I'm at now to where I'm going. Because imagine if Tony Robbins or Esther Hicks or Louise Hay or Gary Vee or all the people that are doing the things now, imagine if they documented their journey when they were 22. And so I share this with you because sometimes we can try and make sense of things, and that's where we get overthinking. We get our minds going crazy. We get that anxiety. If you experience anxiousness, usually it's a symbolic of your body trying to tell you something. There's something out of alignment. There's something out of alignment. Your soul is calling you to do something. Your body is telling you something and you're not listening. And I had this for the past few weeks, just here and there, not with London. Not with London, but more so with relationships and this guy that I'd been seeing privately in my private life. And so if you ever are going through life and you experience this overthinking, you don't know what to do, you hear the call of one part of you, whether it's your soul or not, saying left, and another part of you saying right. If you feel torn in parts, come and see me, because there's an NLP process that combines two parts to make the greater whole. They're just you, and you can be more congruent when they're together. If you have a decision that you need to make and you're not sure about your path, if you're listening to this right now, I encourage you to just sit down and just closing down your eyes and taking a deep breath in. I'm going to teach you a process that I do to make decisions, to check in with myself to see whether I'm on the right path or not. You're going to place your left hand on your heart and your right hand on top, closing your eyes down, and you're going to take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. You can do this if you're walking or you're busy driving. Just don't close your eyes if you're doing that. But taking a deep breath in and deep breath out. And again, deep breath in. And as you breathe out, breathing out any heavy energy from your week, from your day. Breathe it all out of your system. Mother Nature is shaking it up here in London today. It could feel us. And I want you to focus all of your attention on your heart, placing all of your focus on your chest area. Now, if you've taught your mind to be in control all the time, it's probably going to wander. Your focus might dart around. You might be distracted. I encourage you, keep telling yourself, focus. Be with me. Be with me. Be with me. Telling your mind to stop, drop, and listen. Stop, drop, listen. Stop, drop, listen. Keep telling yourself this if you find that your mind wanders. And when you are ready, I want you to ask your heart this question that you are not sure about. Could be, am I on the right path? Could be, what should I do about this situation? And I want you to just receive the first answer that comes to you. It's usually either one word, a feeling, a knowing, a sentence. If it goes on too long and it's in fear or scarcity, it's usually your mind. So stay strong and be with your heart. What does your heart want you to know about your path? Whatever has come through for you today, trust that it is for you, and you can come back to this process at any time you feel called. To finish off today, I wanted to share with you an affirmation that I pulled just before I pressed record for this episode. The title is Trust That You're on the Right Path. It says, "We applaud you for the path that you are on, and we encourage you to keep going. Your recent decisions to make positive life changes are the result of our teamwork. You requested our help. We gave you guidance and you listened to it. This is for you. The adjustments were implemented. Congratulations. We love you unconditionally, no matter how your life is going or what actions you take. Our joy for you is also without reservation, and we bask in the glow of your contentment. Since happiness is the closest earthly energy to God, this emotion is our highest state and yours. It's a form of pure love, so when you are joyful, we're all on the same wavelength with God. Your gladness is a key that opens many wonderful doors in your life. You are on the right path of happiness, so keep going." The thought for today says, "I trust the path that I have chosen, and my angels walk right by my side with every step I take. All the doors of opportunity are open for me now. It is safe for me to improve my life." And I'm sitting out here in the rain with the thunderstorm going on here in London. It is so beautiful and so perfect for this episode. While I've been here in London, I've had these lyrics in my head for a while and I couldn't figure out what the song was. I kept repeating, I believe, I believe, and I was like, no way you're going to sing that to someone because no one's going to understand what that song is. And if I wrote I believe into Spotify, like there's about 1,000 million songs with I believe lyrics in it. And what came through to me today was the lyrics, "You say I am strong when I think I am weak." And it's the song called You Say. And it's about no matter what happens in life, right or wrong, high or low, left or right, happy, unhappy, confident, insecure, that universe, the God, source energy, a higher power, whatever it is you believe in, the song is about that energy will always love you and see your highest potential and highest good. That you are always loved and protected by this energy, the energy that connects all humans, all things, information and knowledge. That no matter what you choose, that you decide, no matter what path that you are on, everything is perfect and meant to be. That every time you meet your edge, where those thoughts come up, those doubts, know that this is just your initiation for your highest path and that you're about to birth something fucking amazing. I love you all so much and thank you for supporting my show. I definitely will do a relationships podcast and maybe a heartbreak podcast later down the track. And if you want to hear this, if you resonated with today, if you wanted to share what come up for you, then send me a message on Instagram. I would love to hear your experience and what you thought of this episode. I love yous, and I'll see you next week.
Thank you for being a part of the Generation Elevation community. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to leave a 5-star rating, written review, share, and tag me on Instagram at Elise.Riley. Until next time, keep loving, keep learning, and keep rising.